Okay, welcome back to our channel. Thank you for joining us. This afternoon we're going to be thinking about the sowing of the seed of tomatoes and melons. At the beginning of March each year I always start thinking about making an early sowing of tomato seed. The particular tomato that we're going to sow today is Shirley, one of our favourite varieties. We sow a number of different varieties of tomatoes. I'll put the details in the written description that goes with this video. The one that we're going to sow today is going to be Shirley. It's a very popular tomato and we like it a great deal. As I said, at the beginning of March we think about making an early sowing. We'll be sowing tomato seeds at different times during the year, but this is our very first sowing. The tomatoes that we're going to grow today will eventually go into a heated greenhouse. It's far too early to actually be sowing seed of tomato for tomatoes that are going to be planted outside. These are going to be actually in a greenhouse. Okay, so as far as the sowing of the seed is concerned, we've got a little propagator tray. I've already filled a propagator tray with some compost mixed with perlite, and we're going to sow our seeds. We have some seeds that we're going to tip out into the little glass bowl. We're going to see how many we've got. I'm not going to have that many, I don't think, but I don't want to sow very many to begin with. This first sowing, if I can sow about maybe 6, 7, 8, something like that, that should be perfect. I don't want too many. Okay then, so I think that I've spaced out about 8 seeds in the tray, which is just right. So now I'm going to cover with about 1/4 of an inch, about 1/2 centimetre of the mixture of compost, multipurpose compost and perlite. As I explained, it's sieved multipurpose compost mixed with perlite to make a nice seed growing mixture. Okay. So we've done that. We will water. The compost had already been watered beforehand, but now we're watering again after sowing the seed. And that is now going to go into a propagator. We will put the top on and it will go into a propagator unit at probably about 18 to 20, 21 degrees, something like that. And before too long, those little seeds will start to germinate. Once they have germinated and once they've developed some leaves, they will then need to be potted on. And as I said, these are very much just for tomatoes that are going to be grown indoors at the moment. It's far too early to be sowing seed, in my opinion anyway, for tomatoes that are going to be planted outside. So that's our tomatoes then. About the same time as when we plant our first tomatoes, we're always thinking about planting some melons too. And today we're going to be planting a few melon Diplomat seeds, one of our favourite melons. The melons we always grow in a polytunnel. We think it's a bit too cold where we live to grow them outside. They will eventually be destined for a polytunnel. Now, as far as the melons are concerned, we're going to fill one of these propagator trays with our seed sowing mixture. I'm going to fill all the way to the top. I'm going to water the seed sowing mixture. And now we're going to actually think about our seeds. There are going to be, I think, 6 seeds in here. And so I'm actually going to make 6 holes into the tray, and each hole is going to be about 1/2 inch deep, I would guess. about 1/2 inch. Now let's get some seeds into the dish. Okay, you don't get many in your packet. And we're going to sow individually the melon seeds. Now I'm going to try to put each seed on its edge. That's it. That's lovely. If you're not careful, actually stick to your fingers when you're doing this. So each one then has been put onto its edge. Just make sure they're correctly in position. Now I'm just going to put some of the seed sowing mixture on top to finish it off. Okay, now that's going to go into a propagator tray. It's going to go into the propagator. And that's, well, I always say that they need to be a little bit warmer than tomatoes. Maybe sort of 20 to 24 degrees, something like that. Those are going to go into the propagator unit, either in the greenhouse or in the house. They're going to be kept nice and warm, and before too long they should germinate as well. If you don't have a propagator unit, it's not a problem. As I've said before, there are many alternatives. You can use a sort of cold propagator unit like this, where you put your seed into one of these units, or you can simply use small trays, which you then cover with plastic or even cling film and put in a nice warm place in the house, maybe a windowsill in the kitchen or something like that. So if you don't have a propagator unit, there are plenty of alternatives that you can use. We've now moved forward several weeks, and the seeds that we planted have germinated and grown. You can see that those are the tomatoes, those are the melons, and here are some cucumbers that you haven't seen us plant. They're now ready to actually be potted on, to be transplanted. So we're going to do the tomatoes to begin with. These are the beautiful tomato plants that have developed from the seed that you saw us grow. We're now going to remove them, and we're going to put them into much larger pots to grow on. As usual, we're very, very careful. We're removing by the leaves. I actually want 6, I think, would be ideal for the moment. Let's be very, very careful here. If they get a little bit leggy, you can pot them a little bit deeper down and they'll be perfectly okay. I just want one more. Let's have that one there. So those are 6 tomatoes then, Shirley variety, and they should be very happy now to grow on, to develop into some lovely plants. These are the melons that we planted. 2 of them are still very small. 3 are at the stage where we can transplant them, and so we're going to pot these on. Again, very, very carefully, we're putting the melons into their pots. That's great. Now I'm going to finish off with a few cucumbers. Great. So there we've got some tomatoes, some melons and some cucumbers. We're now going to put those into a greenhouse with some gentle heat, and they will start growing on, and they should do really, really well. Remember, all of these crops we plant successional sowings. So we're planting it several times during the season to try to get a nice succession of crops, taking us all the way into the autumn. Hope you found it useful. Thank you.